Hello, it's Saturday the 29th of April 2022 and I've been living at Rose Cottage in Nantwich for 5 months. And today I feel I've achieved quite a lot in the garden, but I also feel a little bit overwhelmed by it. So I'm just going to do a quick roundup and share with you my thoughts and feelings and some ideas for some of the new projects which I'm about to attack. This will also be a way of taking stock in a kind of video diary, so that in 12 months time, when a lot of these projects are finished, I can look back and think of all the hard work that I've done. So let's get going. The parterre at the front of the cottage was one of the first jobs I tackled. And they do say that you're supposed to live in a property for 12 months before you start doing anything significant in the garden, just to see what you've got. But I decided right at the beginning that this was always going to be a parterre. And this really is one of the things I'm quite pleased with, that spurs me on now that I'm halfway through several other jobs. Sometimes jobs which are unfinished can get you down a little bit, so it's nice to come out here and just sit and reflect and meditate for a few moments. Gives me the belief that I will get the other jobs finished eventually, even though at the moment they all do seem a little bit overwhelming. So this is the parterre and it's coming along really nicely. I bought 300 of these little box trees. They're all showing signs of being quite nicely established, with wonderful fresh new growth here on the tips, and it won't be long before they all merge together to form a wonderful hedge. Come on, Simba. Next stop, the exotic Trachycarpus border. Just beyond the parterre is the exotic border, which simply contains 3 Trachycarpus fortunei. These have been in pots for 15 years, so I'm sure that getting them in the ground has been a great tonic for them. And in fact, they are all indeed showing signs of wonderful new growth. And if I come here to one of the crowns, you can see we've got some splendid new leaves appearing. These will all open out into these magnificent palms. I dug out some of the lawn, buried them into the soil, covered it in weed fabric and added the gravel and the boulders to give it that Mediterranean feel. And look here on this little mini one. This has already produced 2 wonderful flowers. These are male flowers. These plants are what's known as dioecious, which means that one of them will be male and one of them will be female. I know that one also produces yellow flowers, so that's also a male. I'm hoping that will be a female, and then we might be able to propagate them. So, another little finished project. So I am starting to feel a little bit better now, because there's 2 projects which I've actually managed to complete. Incidentally, just here in the gap between the 2, I'm going to put 3 white hydrangeas, Hydrangea Annabelle. That's why there's a gap here of soil. And those are coming next week for my birthday. These bricks here are going to be laid into the earth to finish off this little edging, which makes it easier for me to push my mower round on the grass. The trough over here, which I found at the front of the cottage, has been levelled up and is ready for planting. That's going to be a mini alpine garden. Outside the back door, there's this lovely cobbled path which goes along to the rear of the cottage. And if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I intend to create a scented border in here with a Mediterranean feel. And I'm going to add these olive trees to give it height. The olive trees have just been pruned, by the way, which is why they are looking a little bit bare. But don't worry, they will come back to life when they get in the ground. We're still early on in the year. So this will be filled with lots of lovely new soil from another part of the garden. And I will plant lavenders and rosemaries and thymes and other scented plants, so that as you walk past along here, you will get the aromas and the essential oils. However, it's still a little bit unfinished, and I need to get on with that because it's getting me down when I walk out of the back door. So that will be one of the things that I do next. But what's preventing me somewhat is the fact that I need to build this windbreak across this gap on the back of the sofa here. I need a windbreak to separate the 2 areas, but also there is quite a lot of breeze comes through and we want to sit in the shelter there. So I am going to build a fence and a windbreak, and I can't do this part of the garden until I've finished this. So it's a little bit frustrating. So a lot of projects are having a knock-on effect on other projects. Again, around the back of the cottage, I've done a lot of work here. I've scooped out a big hole, I filled it with concrete ready for the circular patio, and we want to make a tree fern jungle garden here. We've got the plants ready and waiting. I've actually got the patio slabs to put down, but it's a bigger job than I thought. I've still got to compact these in and then mix a big load of cement to put the flags onto. When I've put the flags in, we can then go ahead and start planting the tree ferns. So another half finished job, which is somewhat a source of frustration. I'm quite busy in my work life at the moment, so a lot of these jobs are taking slightly longer than I thought, but we're on with it. And again, I need to take stock and realise that I have actually done quite a lot of work on that already. It's coming along. What's really encouraging is this wonderful new tree fern from the palm tree company. Has got a fantastic frond starting to show at the top here. Can you see it? Also, several of the other tree ferns have got clear signs of growth. There's 4 or 5 fronds in the bottom of this one. And look at this over here. That frond there is growing by the day. I'm actually doing some time lapse on that as well, so I'll be able to show you a video where that starts at nothing and unfolds in front of your eyes. These are our 2 red bananas, Insete ventricosum morellii. These have been in storage in the garden for the winter. Don't worry, they always look like this when they've just come out of storage. It's important that they do go into storage because they're just not hardy. Some bananas are slightly more hardy, but these will not survive outside in the British winter. This one has already started producing a wonderful new leaf against this warm brick wall, which is actually enjoying the sunlight. Those 2 are actually going in the ground here in this border. So I can't plant those in the ground until I've removed this crocosmia and this hellebore. So that's a job which I'll be doing very, very soon. Then this will become an exotic border full of cannas and bananas and palms. It will be absolutely full of plants which will help prevent weeds from coming up. So that's where we are at the back of the cottage. So 3 little projects all in one really: the jungle garden, the windbreak, the banana and exotic border. And then at some point in the near future we should start be able to enjoying it and socialising at the back here. There's our postman just arrived with the post. He's giving Simba his usual daily biscuit, which is lovely. Thank you. Moving around the back of the garage, this is a big pile of gravel which I removed from that mound of earth over in the far corner, and I've planted a wildflower meadow on there. Let's go and have a quick look. If you watch the video, you'll know that I raised these paving slabs up on blocks so that wildlife can crawl underneath and find refuge. They will be hidden eventually by a host of wildflowers. And look here down at ground level, already these seeds have really started to germinate. I'm delighted because this was a £1.50 packet of seeds from Aldi, and everywhere I can see thousands of germinated flowers. This is going to be a wonderful display of wildflowers in this, which is the wildlife corner of my garden. There's the log pile I constructed, and behind that is the hibernaculum, which is a place for wildlife to hibernate underneath. Underneath there's a load of crocks and rubble underneath, some roofing felt buried in soil, and there's an entrance underneath that flag. Buddleia butterfly bushes, a twig pile, another butterfly bush just there, and a nice thick dense hedge for the birds to nest in. And this is the area of lawn where I'm going to make a beautiful big wildlife pond. And over there in the corner there's going to be a deck and a hide so that I can sit peacefully and watch the wildlife around the water's edge. That's the weed fabric from on top of the mound, which I've just removed, and look at the grass. It's growing at a rate of knots. People are encouraging us not to cut our lawns at the moment, but whilst that's a wonderful idea for the wildlife, it actually stores up problems for us, because the longer it gets, the more difficult it gets to bring back under control. So I might do a little bit and just leave a portion of it unmowed, but I really do need to get the mower out and get on top of this before it gets too long. Once it gets as long as this, it's almost impossible to get through it with a mower and pick the cuttings up. So in the compound I've constructed a cold frame and a hugelkultur bulk bag raised bed. This is ready to have some vegetable seeds planted into it. I'm going to plant some seeds in this which cannot be planted direct at this time of year. And today I'm going to convert these 2 large planters, which I used for the bananas, into 4 mini raised beds. So I'm going to make a mini veg plot just by cutting these in half, putting them on the ground in a nice symmetrical square pattern, and half filling them with soil. And then I'm going to plant some veg seeds directly into those 4 mini raised beds. All the tender plants are out here in this wonderful sunny sheltered spot, and they're all doing really well. These are going to go into that border next to the red bananas which I showed you earlier. This is a slightly hardier banana. These 2 are actually, as a part of an experiment, going to be left in the ground in the border at the back of the cottage this year. So stay tuned and we'll see how we get on with those. I will protect them a little bit. I won't just leave them bare like that, but I'm going to see if I can get away with leaving those in the ground. So here we have bird of paradise, bananas, lots and lots of cannas which are all going to go in that border, some agapanthus. So that border is going to be full of all these wonderful plants. Unfortunately, the colocasia, I had about 7 colocasias in here, and I think they've all died. I'm not going to give up hope. I'll keep it watered and see what pops up. There's a tiny leaf here which you never know, there might be some life in that. I need to get them watered. The 2 Belfast sinks which I found hidden away in the hedge there, still waiting to be planted. I've not decided what I'm doing with those yet. I'm quite relaxed about them. They were already there in the hedge, so they're not doing any harm waiting there a little bit longer. But sometimes these little half-finished jobs add to the frustration. So it's a nice thing to just have a wander around sometimes and just have a look at the things that you have managed to achieve in a short space of time. And I'm feeling a little bit more positive now because I have actually done quite a lot in the 5 months that we've been living here. Let's have a wander over to this corner. I don't know if you remember, but there was a massive conifer here, about 30 feet tall, as high as that pole, and I removed it because I didn't want it there. I've got an idea for this garden. There's the patio around the back of the cottage that's going to be moved around there very shortly. So I removed that conifer, and the cuttings are over here. I've seen birds going in and out of it. I think they're nesting in there, so that's not got to be disturbed till the end of the nesting season, which is late August. But in any event, it can stay there and provide a habitat and a haven for wildlife. It's not doing any harm. It's not particularly good looking, but neither is this asbestos garage, so I see that as quite a neutral thing that can stay there. Lovely blossom on these fruit trees. I'm hoping for a nice harvest of apples or pears. And look at these down here, a host of bright blue grape hyacinths. Look at them, aren't they gorgeous? I can come and just enjoy these in those moments when I'm feeling a little bit stressed by it all. Eventually the asbestos garage will be removed and will be replaced by a more attractive greenhouse or summer house. I've not decided yet. This is the rubble, would you believe, that came out from the side of the extension there where I'm having my scented border. I had to move that before I could put soil back in. And this is a strange, unusual raised bed. This will be going. I want that tree to stand on its own. I don't like the fact that there's soil up its trunk, and I'm going to uplight that. But again, it's a little bit untidy and a little bit frustrating, but it will get done. I'll get round to it, and happily there's some lovely soil in there which I can use in other parts of the garden. There's the old conifer tree trunk, which will be eventually half buried and have ferns planted into it. And this was a wonderful gift from a neighbour who was actually removing a feature of his garden. He had like a boulder beach and a water feature, and he doesn't want these anymore, so he's given them to me. They're going to be fantastic as a beach in my wildlife pond. There's about 3 tons of them. I spent a day with my neighbour Rod moving them this week, so a bit of a bonus, and they can sit here in the corner until I get round to making my wildlife pond over there by the mound. this has become a corner of the garden where I just kind of store waste. It's not a bad place to store waste because there's an entrance here, and eventually I might need to get a skip delivered and they can just bring it in, plonk it down here, and I'll be able to load all the waste into it. Look at this clematis on the telegraph pole. Amazing. Not sure, it might be Nellie Mosa. My Auntie Phyllis used to have one like this on her back hedge, and it was called Nellie Mosa. I think that's the same. The slabs for the patio at the back, just waiting to be installed. It's got to happen soon so that we can get the ferns in. And the lawn. And now here we are, back where we started, and there's little Simba enjoying the treat that the postman's just given to him. My dog's got no teeth, so he will spend a full day eating a hard chew like that, and it keeps him happy and occupied. So there we are, a late April roundup. Some very good positive stuff, some achievements, and quite a lot of half-finished projects which I'm finding a little bit overwhelming and frustrating at the moment. But I know that in 12 months' time I'll watch this video and I'll feel a lot happier because I will do it and all these projects will get finished. I hope you've enjoyed that roundup. Please do like the video if you have, and subscribe to my channel. Also, comment below in the comments box and give me some encouragement, and see you soon.